Now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. During the Kennedy Center board meeting today at the White House, President Trump said that a previous president told him he wished he had attacked Iran. No, not Biden, the guy before him. During the same meeting, President Trump asked House Speaker Mike Johnson to discuss a Republican congressman's health issues. And, well, just watch this.
Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, and it was very serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire. And
what was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay.
Spoiler alert. Oh my God, I had to watch that through my fingers the way I watched Weapons in the theater. I never thought I would feel bad for Mike Johnson, and I was right, I still don't, but look at his face. He looks like a dad in a grocery store whose kid just yelled, "Daddy, what's wrong with that man's face?" In a new interview, President Trump said that he's working to secure the Strait of Hormuz with numerous countries, but would not name any of them. Wouldn't or couldn't? Wakanda, they're in. In a new interview yesterday with the Financial Times, President Trump said he wants NATO countries to send warships to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, now you want NATO's help? I can't believe how quickly we went from "we have the greatest military in the history of the world" to "help us, Portugal. You're our only hope." President Trump also said the war with Iran will end, quote, "when I feel it in my bones." Sounds crazy, but remember, a feeling in his bones is what got him out of Vietnam. Deep cut. Deep cut. In a new interview, President Trump confirmed reports that he purchases dress shoes for members of his cabinet, as opposed to what he should be buying them, shirts. President Trump was set to meet today with the U.S. ambassador to Japan, George Glass. George Glass? Oh, we definitely don't have an ambassador to Japan. No, sure we do. He was confirmed by Richard Doorhandle. In a post last week on Truth Social, President Trump thanked TSA agents for continuing to work without pay during the Department of Homeland Security shutdown and added, quote, "I promise that I will never forget you. Don't buy it," said Tiffany. Yesterday was the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon. It's an annual event where they announce a gate change at LaGuardia 5 minutes before boarding. And finally, how far away is our gate? 13.1 miles. I don't think we're gonna make it. And finally, the Los Angeles subway system recently unveiled the most unusual items from its lost and found, including a case filled with VHS tapes. "I forgot those even existed," said residents about LA's subway trains. Today was St. Patrick's Day. This news first reported by Wally's Cue Cards. During an interview last week, President Trump claimed that California Governor Gavin Newsom committed political suicide by talking about his learning disability. I don't know, man. I don't think there's such a thing as a political suicide anymore. I used to think orchestrating a coup was political suicide. Turns out it just gets you reelected. Hell, Kristi Noem admitted to shooting her dog, and you still hired her for a year. During the Kennedy Center board meeting yesterday at the White House, President Trump criticized some U.S. allies for not being enthusiastic enough about helping to secure the Strait of Hormuz and added, quote, "the level of enthusiasm, it matters to me. But worst case, they can always fake it." Plans were released last week for the renovation of the White House grounds, which include a 33,000 square foot visitor center, in case he ever decides to pop by. Pentagon officials reportedly barred news photographers from the press briefing room because they did not like the way some pictures made Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth look. You mean like a college basketball coach who quit smoking 6 hours ago? That's not the camera's fault. During a recent briefing on military operations in Iran, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth dismissed comparisons to the war in Iraq and said, quote, "This is not 2003. Really? Then why are you hanging out with Kid Rock?" A couple featured on the Real Housewives franchise was arrested last week after they allegedly stole over $3,000 worth of items from a Publix grocery store in Florida. In their defense, that's like 7 eggs right now. Southwest Airlines announced last week it will no longer offer service to Chicago O'Hare or Washington Dulles airports. I know they had flights, but when did they offer service? The U.S. Postal Service has unveiled new Forever stamps that feature 5 different lowrider cars. So if you love lowriders and you collect stamps, you might be the only one. And finally, the Los Angeles subway system recently unveiled the most unusual items from its lost and found, including a prosthetic leg. Yet another reason why New York is better than LA. The legs you find on the subway here are real. Hey, free leg! New York's St. Patrick's Day parade was held yesterday. It included more than 159,000 marchers, or as it's known in Ireland, one family. Oh, here come the O'Malleys. Trump praised former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill yesterday during a press appearance with Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin. You praised Winston Churchill in front of the Irish? Anything else you want to praise? Maybe non-alcoholic beer? O'Doul, we love O'Doul. I've been hearing a lot of good about O'Douls. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump criticized U.S. allies for not providing military support in Iran and added, quote, "We no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. We never did." Really? Because you were begging for their help a couple of days ago. Now, all of a sudden, NATO is like Dumbo's feather. It turns out we could fly all along. At the Friends of Ireland luncheon yesterday, President Trump said that he knows so many Irish people, but added, quote, "They're very difficult," which I think means we've been downgraded to acquaintance of Ireland. Same luncheon, President Trump gave an update on the war in Iran and said, quote, "They were, in my opinion, 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon." Well, that's not how opinions work. This is a matter of fact. Either they were 2 weeks away or they weren't. That's why no one ever asks, in your opinion, what is the capital of Vermont? President Trump also called the war in Iran, quote, "a little excursion." Okay, just because you give it a cute name doesn't make it less bad. That's like saying OJ had a case of the Mondays. FBI Director Kash Patel was recently photographed wearing custom Nike sneakers with his personal logo, the FBI motto, and a Punisher skull. Dude, you're the head of the FBI. Why are you dressing like every guy having brunch in Tribeca? Tell you what, you're cruising for a pair of size 14 Floorshimes. After President Biden spoke yesterday at a St. Patrick's Day event in Boston, Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey praised Biden and said, quote, "No president has celebrated his Irish roots as you have. Like that time he left the debate without saying goodbye to anyone." Apple CEO Tim Cook dismissed rumors this week he's planning on retiring and said that he, quote, "can't imagine life without Apple because whenever he does, he gets quite the jolt from his Apple shock collar." In a post on Monday on Truth Social, President Trump promoted Fox News host Sean Hannity's podcast, Hang Out with Sean Hannity, which is also the #1 least requested thing at Make-A-Wish. Finally, a Chinese man was arrested recently at an airport in Kenya after officials discovered more than 2,000 live ants in his luggage. Authorities became suspicious when his carry-on carried itself on. When asked during a press conference today with the Japanese Prime Minister why he didn't tell U.S. allies before attacking Iran, President Trump said that he wanted it to be a surprise and added, quote, "Who knows better about surprise than Japan?" Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? I don't know. I guess because neither of you had been born yet? What are you talking about? Do you mean the movie Pearl Harbor? Because Japan didn't do that. We did that to ourselves. During the same press conference, President Trump praised the Japanese Prime Minister's understanding of English and added, quote, "I haven't picked up your language." Oh, nobody thought you had picked up Japanese. You already have your hands full with English.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Salient point. When asked today if he'll send more troops to Iran, President Trump said, quote, "If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you," which was extra rude considering who asked. During his confirmation hearing yesterday for Homeland Security Secretary, Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen said that when he was first elected to Congress, he did not know how to tie a tie. Yeah, I think we made it clear that's not disqualifying. I mean, the dress code is slowly turning into custody hearing casual. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump called on Colorado officials to release former county clerk and election denier Tina Peters, who was convicted of tampering with voting machines, because he's clearly gonna need her during the midterms. During the Shamrock Bowl ceremony on Tuesday, President Trump said that he feels like he has Irish blood and added, quote, "I'm not too far. I have Scottish blood. Is that good or bad? And long story short, we're in another war." California Senator Adam Schiff is set tomorrow to hold a hearing to build support for a federal film incentive with the Pitt star, Noah Wiley. But if you wanted to get Congress running smoothly again, you should bring her. That's the one who gets done. According to a new survey, the most popular puppy name in the country is Luna, while the least popular is still Ghislaine. To be honest, I mean, if Ghislaine got lost, you wouldn't, like, walk out and yell that name. That dog's gone. 270 people dressed like the Nintendo character Mario recently gathered in New York at a GameStop store. Of course, if you want to see a gathering of 270 Marios, you can just check out New Jersey. And finally, a Florida pawn shop employee was recently arrested for allegedly stealing more than $10,000 worth of jewelry. Even worse, she only offered herself $2,000 for it. This is like some pawn shop humor. That was a monologue, everybody.